To his friend Nepos, I think that I have noted that some deeds and words of man and woman are more celebrated, but that others are greater. My belief was strengthened by a confession I had yesterday with Fania. She is the granddaughter of the famous Arya, who was both a consolation and example to her husband at his death. She told me many things about her grandmother, which were no less impressive than that, but are less well known, and I think you will find them as remarkable as you read them as I did when I heard them. Caecina Paetus, her husband, was ill, and so was her son, and both were at death's door. Her son died. He was remarkably handsome and equally modest, and dear to his parents as much for other considerations as for being their son. She organized his funeral and arranged the ceremony so discreetly that her husband knew nothing of it. Indeed, whenever she entered her husband's room, she pretended that the son was still alive and was even improving. To his frequent inquiry about the son's progress, she will reply, "He has slept well, and has happily taken some food." When her tears for long restraint overcame her and burst forth, she would leave and then yield to her grief. After crying to her heart's content, she would dry her eyes, compose her features, and go back to her husband as if she had left her sons lost outside. That celebrated action of hers in unseating the dagger, piercing her breast and extracting the dagger, passing it to her husband, and crowning all with the immortal, almost godlike words, "Petrus, it does not hurt," was certainly an outstanding deed. But as she did these things, and said these words, never-ending fame lay before her eyes. All the greater was it, therefore, without the reward of perennial fame, to conceal her tears, to bury her grief, and to play the role of a mother when her son was lost to her. When Scribonianus, when Scribonianus raised a rebellion against Claudius in Illyricum, Petrus had joined his faction. When Scribonianus was killed, Petrus was escorted to Rome. As he was embarking, Arria pleaded with the soldiers that she too should be taken abroad. "Doubtless," he said, "since he is a consular, you will provide him with some slaves to feed and clothe him, and to put on his shoes. I shall do all these things by myself." When she was refused, she hired a small fishing boat, and followed the huge ship in her tiny craft. When the white script of Scribonianus was lying information before Claudius about the rising, Arria said to her, "I am listening to you when Scribonianus lays in your arms, and yet you go on living." This incident makes it clear that her decision to die a most noble death was not unpremeditated. Indeed, when her son-in-law Thrasea begged her not to take the path to death, and among other things remarked, "So I had to die. Will you wish your daughter to die with me?" she replied, "Yes, if she lives as long and as harmoniously with you as I have lived with Petrus." This reply has intensified the concern of her household, and they kept a more vigilant eye on her. She realized this, and said, "You are wasting your time, for you can ensure for me a coward's death, but you cannot prevent my dying." Saying this, he jumped from her chair, and with great force struck her head on the wall opposite and collapsed. When she came round, she said, "I told you that I would find some healthy way to die if you refused me an easy one." These words must truly strike you as more impressive than that famous utterance, "Petrus is the innocent heart," to which they led. While those final words have become hugely famous, these earlier ones are not. are not current at all. So this exemplifies my initial remark that some sayings are more celebrated, but others are greater. Farewell.